The experts said a woman couldn't have done it alone, and they were right. The family had done it together, as they'd always done things. They'd jointly made a mess of it. All their efforts at concealment were undone in a moment. It might have been comical if it hadn't been criminal. It happened in early September 1898, on one of those last summer vacation days when children tend to bore easily. On this warm Monday at 4 o'clock, 3 boys had spent the day doing nothing in particular. As they walked home over a bridge, 2 white bundles on the mudflats below caught their attention. Another boy and some men joined them. The carefully shaped objects, one round and one rectangular, made a sharp contrast with the muck of nature. It was strange. The adults seemed content to marvel, but a boy decided to investigate. Johnny Jackson descended from the bridge and found a long stick. Another 12-year-old, Stephen Kelly, came to assist. The objects lay close to the shore of Yellow Mill Pond in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Although called a pond, it was a tidal inlet, filling and draining in delayed synchronization with the ocean's ebb and flow. The family had thrown the packages off the bridge at high tide, painstakingly weighting them down with stones to sink them in 6 feet of water. Now, at low tide, almost the entire pond floor was exposed. Anyone who lived here could have explained that would happen, but the family didn't live here. At least, not in the way other families did. The stones, at least, had worked as intended. Applying the stick to the larger package, the rectangular one, the boys couldn't make it budge. One of the boys' uncles, a blacksmith, lived near the bridge. Recruited to the effort, the uncle spliced the stick to a rake handle, attaching a hook to the end. Now, properly equipped, the team retrieved its quarry. Cord held the cloth covering together. As if handling a Christmas present, the children brought the bundle onto the bridge for unwrapping. Complicated knots threatened to slow their progress, but one boy lent a knife. The heavy white cloth fell away. "And I saw a foot in it," Johnny later told the coroner. Perhaps shamed by all this juvenile initiative, an adult retrieved the second package. In his retelling, a head rolled out, with blue eyes open, but that was probably an embellishment. The neck was still attached, down to the 3rd cervical vertebra, making free rotation unlikely. Long auburn hair indicated that these were the barely decomposed remains of a young woman. At this point, the amateur detectives of the Seaview Avenue Bridge summoned the police, who found that the package with the foot contained both legs, severed below the knee. The 4 dissected parts of the lower limbs were bound together neatly in linen, apparently ripped from a man's undergarment. Cloth was also bound around the dead woman's mouth, suggesting to some that she'd been gagged before being murdered, but the police never seriously considered that theory. It was too late for the evening edition of the papers. With 65,000 inhabitants, Bridgeport was one of New England's largest cities. Nevertheless, word spread quickly, all the way to the North End. A search began for the missing body parts. As the waters rose, boaters were placed on alert, and volunteers in hip boots scoured the pond. As they searched, journalists and thrill-seekers flocked to the private funeral home that served as the city morgue. The police had placed the head on display, hoping someone could identify the victim, described in one paper as having an aquiline nose and in another as possessing a wealth of hair. It was a spectacle worthy of the showman P.T. Barnum, formerly a mayor of the city.